Hola, mis Anabelas, and welcome back to Octoberween. So, you guys and I have wanted to do some stories, and I decided why not some ghost stories? Why not some trick or treat ghost stories too, since it is Octoberween? So, we are going to be reading a couple of scary stories, not mine, but some I found on the internet, which I thought were fitting for this video, so let's get into it. The first one is called Come On In. One year over Halloween, I was visiting my cousins. We were all around the same age. Like any normal teenagers, we were bored, and with nothing to do, we decided to go trick-or-treating. My cousins lived in this really old area. All the houses were well over 100 years old. The entire place looked like something out of a horror movie. We knocked on a few doors. Everything was going good until my cousin dared me to knock on the house at the end of the street. Think nothing of it. I walked up to the house while they stayed behind. As I knocked on the door, it slowly opened, creaking noises and everything. It was really dark inside with just a little light coming from one of the rooms further back in the house. I remember thinking these people had gone out for Halloween because this place was so creepy. I called out, but there was just silence. Beginning to feel really creeped out, I was just about to leave when I heard a woman's voice say, "Come on in." There was no way I was going in there, so I just waited, and then I heard her say again, "Come on in," and then something like, "We're here." I'm really scared now. I'm just standing there, frozen, because there was something about that voice, and it was so dark in there. Then suddenly, I hear a loud bang, and what sounds like heavy footsteps rushing toward me from the back of the house, and that's when I ran. My cousins were laughing at me, but when I told them about the creepy voice telling me to go inside, they stopped. Turns out the house had been abandoned for years and was known to be haunted. Now this next one is just a ghost story, no trick-or-treating involved, but I'm excited to read it. It's short, but it looks good. This one is called It's a Secret. My daughter had this imaginary friend called Polly when she was much younger. I would regularly hear her talking in her room as though there was someone else in it. I wasn't overly bothered by it. I thought it was a normal thing for a kid to do. If I was setting the table, she would ask me to set a place for Polly. If she lost a toy, then Polly had lost it. As I said normal stuff, I never gave much thought until one night I was putting my daughter to bed. I asked her, "What did Polly look like?" "He looks like Grandpa, only he's a lot older and with no hair and black eyes." And then she said, "But I'm not supposed to tell you. It's a secret." I freaked out. She slept in my bed that night, and I'll be honest, I kept the light on all night. Polly lasted a whole year before my daughter gradually stopped talking about her, him, it. I never asked her again about it, as I remember someone telling me once, the more you talk about something like that, the more power you give it. Seems to have worked. So this next one is called The Attic. It's short, but I don't like the name of it either, The Attic. When I was a kid, back at my old house, I'd assumed my sister and I were playing in the attic. Sister suggests that I hang out the window for whatever reason. A few seconds later, my dad, outside, sees me hanging almost fully out of the third-story window on my own, starts yelling and running, etc. After I get pulled back inside, my mom and sister insist that I was alone in the attic for the last hour, that my sister was with my mom the whole time, and my dad had passed my sister on the ground level before heading back inside. I assume at least one of them's lying to me about something. Certainly more plausible than a ghost tried to get me to kill myself. Still. Okay. This one is called The Basement Door. When I was very young, we lived in a house that had the usual ghost activity, hearing footsteps, hushed voices in the next room, etc. But the really cool thing was that the basement door, it would open on its own. I'm not talking opening an inch or two when you close another door nearby. I mean, it would fully swing open like someone's walking through it. My parents tried locking the door, and it would still swing open on its own. By the time I was learning to walk, my dad was concerned I would fall down the steps. So he went down into the basement and just said to no one in particular that he had a young daughter and could they please be careful with the door. Ever since then, the basement door would open and then slowly shut on its own. So the last story of our spooky stories is called Come Here. This isn't my story, so it takes away from the horror factor a bit, but it's from a good friend that I know doesn't make stuff up. When he was about 8, he was playing hide and seek with his friend at his house. It was late, probably about 10ish. It's my friend's turn to find his friend. He's looking everywhere around the house, but he can't seem to find him anywhere. He eventually decides he must be hiding outside, so he leaves the house to find him. He starts searching around some bushes when he hears his friend's voice coming from a dark corner maybe 20 feet away. The voice calls for him to come over. He didn't because he was already spooked out enough outside in the pitch black. My friend yelled back, "No, you come over here." That's when he said it really started to get spooky. He told me that the voice sounded just like his friend and kept insisting that he come over to the dark corner. My friend kept saying no over and over again. At this point, he said the voice suddenly changed to a dark, horrible sounding voice demanding he come over. At this point, he ran back inside, only to see his friend in the living room. When questioned how he got inside so fast, the friend said he never went outside. Now I know both of these two guys. None of them make up stuff like that. And I doubt it's the case of an imagination gone wild. Whatever that voice was, it still spooks me just thinking about this story. Well, Anabelas, thank you guys so much for joining me on another installment of Octoberween. I hope that you guys are enjoying it as much as I am, and hopefully you guys didn't get too spooked out. I really enjoyed this. This was a really nice, calming, little spooky video, and I hope that you guys feel the same way. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, adios, Anabelas.